Welcome to my podcast, So Sweet Violet. My name is Jules and this is episode 44. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of February, and it's cloudy at the moment, but Mabel and I went on such a lovely walk this morning and it was beautiful blue sky and windy. I love it when it's windy. It's cold out there, but it's lovely. But it does look like it may rain in a while. Not that I mind because I'm cozy inside. What should I say? I need to say stuff, don't I, at the beginning of my episode. I wish I could be like Amy Florence and lots of other podcasters out there who just have this really good way of starting their podcast. It's always the same, more or less. It makes sense and it's professional. Maybe that's something I need to work on. Okay, so all the show notes for this podcast you can find on my blog. So the link to my blog will be down below this video on YouTube. If not, you can Google or put in the typing bar www.sosweetviolet.blogspot.com, I think. Or Google So Sweet Violet. I'm sure it'll come up. Also, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Ravelry. You can find me on Etsy, where I sell my knitting and sewing patterns. And you can find me in my Shopify shop, where I sell all sorts of things that I make. I think that's everything I need to say. I think that's it. Okay, so as I mentioned, today is the 3rd of February, and that means it's snowdrop season, and I just picked these beauties from my garden just before I podcasted. Oh, how pretty are they? I just love snowdrops. They're brave little flowers, aren't they? And I just popped in some rosemary because there's not much else in the garden at the moment. But this is one of my favourite little vases. I got it from Emma Bridgewater, and it's got roses and pansies engraved on it. I got it in the sale last year. I love them. I was really hoping to get a podcast in this week because on Friday I go in for my breast reduction surgery, and I thought I would be much more on edge than I am. And yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling really positive. I am doing some anxiety, obviously, because it's not something you just go into. I've thought about it a lot. It's been on my mind for a very long time. I wish I'd done it sooner, but I'm going in on Friday and I'll be out Saturday morning if all goes well. And then it'll just be a time for healing and resting and just being, just getting better. And I'm really looking forward to being able to wear pretty underwear and lovely dresses that actually fit my whole body and not just my bust. So I'm feeling really, really positive about it. Anyway, I think I had to mention that because it's just so on my mind at the moment. But look at this. It's a new mug I got from Emma Bridgewater. But what's so amazing is this is my most favourite mug. Okay, this is my most favourite mug, which I've shown a lot on here. And it's 30 years old. It was a gift from my brother and my lovely sister-in-law when I was 18. Gosh, it's gone dark, hasn't it? And I love it. It's my favourite. But look. It's a little, is it a bit big out? No, I don't think it is a bit bigger. It just kind of looks it. But look, it's very similar, isn't it? And this is a new design of theirs. And it's so pretty. I love the rosebud on this side, that little rosebud there. It's so lovely. So I'm really excited about that. I've got some lovely warm coffee in here. Right, let's get on with the knitting chatter, shall we? Let me just show you something in my diary. Friday. Finished things. Well, I don't really have anything finished, like proper finished, but I have finished the front of this. This is my teeny tiny patchwork blanket, and it's exactly the same as my Happy Patchwork mitered square blanket, but the squares are half the size. Well, in a way, they're like a quarter of the size, because 4 squares makes up 1 square of my other blanket, which I'll show you a bit later. This was originally meant to be a baby blanket, but it's very time consuming and quite fiddly, and although I've loved making it, the thought of making it like, I don't know, 8 times this size was just a bit much. So I decided to turn it into a doll blanket, and I have an antique doll bed, which is actually all in pieces. I bought it from eBay, I don't know, a few years ago, and I wanted to furnish it with lovely cozy bed linen and blankets for dollies and teddies and whatever my grandchildren of the future might like to play with. So yeah, this is a special project. So I have made this, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 10 squares by 12 squares. The squares are 24 stitches. So there'll be 12 along here and 12 up here. I've not woven in the ends. All I've done on the back is just tied the ends really tightly, like 3 or 4 knots, because I am planning on lining this with some cotton fabric, and I'm thinking probably this is like a violety dot and this is a pink and cream stripe, so it'll be either one of those. And I'm just going to line it and hand stitch it down to the edge of this on the back, like folding over. And then I am going to try and do a crochet border, just a tiny little simple scallop border in probably a natural colour. I don't want it white. I feel it does need a little bit of fancy. Yeah, so I think it's going to be really cute. Next time I podcast, I'll make the bed up because it's all in pieces, and I will show you what it's going to look like. It's just basically a spring base and 2 wooden ends. It's really lovely. I don't know how old it is, but it looks old, and it looks like it's been painted before and then stripped. So at the moment it's wood, which I really like. So that's that. I've also got a lot of teeny tiny, like 3 or 4 gram amounts of yarn. Hang on, I'll show you. And I think I may make a granny stripe blanket to go on the bed as well, because there's not much you can do with this amount of yarn. I think there's like 3 or 4 grams, and I cannot bear to waste them because they're just so, well, the yarns are just so beautiful, and I guess that's why I call them my beautiful bits. So they will be, I think, going into a granny stripe blanket for the dolly bed, which actually would be a nice project when I'm recuperating. So I may think about getting that started actually. So that's that, and that's kind of my only finished thing, which is not really a finished thing, in the making. I need some coffee. I decided to dig out my tenure, which I think I started it last year. Gosh, I hope I started it last year, not the year before. But it kind of went on hold really, because basically I don't know what size bust I'm going to be after my surgery, not like 100%. So it kind of went on hold, but I've been thinking about it, and it's a very oversized garment anyway. And I think the only thing I need to worry about is getting the length right. So I have picked it up, and last night I got to the point, oops, not to lose any stitches, I got to the point where the pattern says to divide for the armholes. So I think I need to go and look in the mirror. And well, I could do it now actually. Look in the camera. Hold that up to myself and see where it ends. Actually, I think that's pretty good. Because it's going to be a tiny bit longer because I'm not going to have so much boobage. So I think that may be about right. Because I don't want it long because it's going to go with summer dresses, I think. So I'm going to have a double check upstairs in my mirror in my bedroom, but I may actually divide for the sleeves now, but it's beautiful, so pretty. I changed the pattern a fraction by not doing, I think there's garter stitch across here, or pearl stitches across these bits, and I took that out because I liked it simply like this. Isn't that a beautiful pattern? See, that's exciting. I've been missing knitting on garments actually. I've done lots of small things lately, lots of pattern writing, lots of wondrous dishcloths and marvellous soap mitts, and socks and cowls. So I felt like I wanted something to get my teeth into. This yarn is beautiful. And this is Married in Jeans by Dandelion and Dogwood. And it's the most perfect mid-blue. It is gorgeous. I have been doing the helical knitting technique, and I followed the YouTube tutorial by lovely Grace of Babble's Travelling Yarn, which is amazing. It's so simple and you'd never know. You get no line. It's literally incredible. Although I have got a tiny line, you can see where I started knitting last night. I don't know if it picks it up. There's a kind of, obviously my tension's a little bit different. It's not really picking up, but it's kind of along here. I think that will probably just block out. So yeah, I am knitting. What size am I knitting? I wish I'd have brought my spectacles in. I am knitting the medium. And oops, I did like my coffee. No, we do have some coffee issues here on this podcast. So yes, that is my tenure, which will be finished soon. And it's in my lovely bag from the Blue Rabbit House. Cute, isn't it? Okay, so that's my tenure. Let me show you my spoilt for choice. Let me show you my happy patchwork blanket. So this is my regular sized mitered square blanket. This is growing. I set myself a challenge of doing 4 squares a week this year to hopefully get it not finished by the end of the year, but really on its way. I've mostly stuck to that. I'm probably 4 squares behind, to be honest. But I don't want to bore you with this because it doesn't really grow that much, even if you add, like if I podcasted every 2 weeks, that would only be 8 squares. But I know lots of you like to see it, and it is, oh, so gorgeous. It is gorgeous, there's no doubt about it. It is so pretty. And this is how big it is. And I've started on this row up here. What I'm going to do is get the width to the right point, and then I'm going to work on the length and get that to the right point. The details of how I knit my squares are on my Ravelry project page for my Happy Patchwork Blanket. Somewhere along the line of my podcasts, I did talk about how I knit them together, but possibly in the future, because I've had lots of people asking, I may do a little tutorial if anybody's interested, but it won't be for a while. Just how I do it, and there's loads of ways to do it, but just how I do it, I think I may do that. Yeah, that's beautiful. On the back, I knit my ends in as I go because there's a lot of ends, and I think knitting in is just, for me, makes it feel less daunting. And you can't really see. Let me show you the back. There are a few ends. I mean, you can see that there. I should have woven that particular end there into this colour and not this colour. But overall, you can see it's really neat on the back, and you just don't have to worry about sewing them all in when you finish, or even as you go along. So yeah, I really like that. I've also, my design is in a cross, so you can see the centre. This is the centre of my blanket. So these are my very first 4 squares, and I've gone out from that centre cross. There is a technique to that as well, which maybe I can also share that. Yeah, maybe I'll just do a little tutorial series on it if anybody's interested. So just let me know if you are interested, and perhaps I will do that. So that is my Happy Patchwork Blanket, and I love it. It has the most beautiful yarns in, and it's going to be really well loved. Next up are my Peppermint snow socks. So I finished one from the little bunny, and they're so pretty. I shared a picture yesterday on Instagram of my sock drawer, and I can't really express to you how happy hand knit socks make me. I did a big sock wash over the weekend, and I was just folding them up and putting them away, and I came across the very first pair that I ever made, and I just love those socks so much. They literally saved me knitting those socks. I wear my hand knit socks almost exclusively, and definitely in the winter especially. I have a couple of pairs of walking socks and some just kind of small trainer socks that I've bought from the shops, but other than that I wear my hand knit socks all the time. And the pleasure that brings me is priceless. Lots of you have said to me how much you'd love to knit socks, and really, it's really not that hard. It takes a bit of concentration in the beginning, but the pleasure that it will pay you back is immense. So if you are sitting on the edge and thinking, oh, I'd like to knit socks, but I don't know how, there are so many tutorials on YouTube. When I first started, actually, I will put a link to a blog post that I wrote, 2 blog posts that I wrote, with the links to the tutorials that I used to teach myself, well, they taught me, to knit socks, because it's the biggest gift. It's so lovely, and once you know how to do them, once you've got the basics, you can play around and you can change things up. You can knit them toe up, which is how I learnt and how I still prefer. You can knit cuff down. There's so many different toes and heels, and you can, over time, which is lovely, you can find the perfect fit for you. There's lots of practicing involved, but even the socks that don't fit me perfectly when I was learning, I still love them and I still wear them every day. And now I've just learnt my perfect fit. And that is obviously my patterns, because I write patterns that fit me perfectly because they're my favourites. But there's so many patterns out there and gorgeous yarn. And if you look up there, there. I have the most gorgeous collection of single skeins, and I think a lot of us do. They're so perfect for socks. So if you're sitting on the edge and thinking, shall I, shan't I, is it too hard? Just try. Honestly, it's wonderful. Anyway, enough rambling. These are my Peppermint snow socks, and they are knit from a gorgeous, gorgeous skein of Nora George yarns in Sugared Rose. Now, these were knit cuff down. The pattern is by lovely Mariana, who is vanilla wool. I love how the pattern's on the front and the back is plain. So they're knit cuff down, 2 by 2, and then it goes into the lovely pattern. There's a heel flap and gusset, and down the foot, and I did change the toe. This is an umbrella toe by lovely Kay of the Bakery Bears, and it's on a lot of her patterns. And I just made the toe quite a lot longer because for some reason I really like the look of that. So there's that one. And oopsie. Oh my goodness, I just dropped a stitch. Come back. And this is my second one. It's a bit tangled, but I've just done the leg and the heel flap and the heel turn. So I just need to start the gusset and then carry on down the foot, and then that one will be done. So yeah, that is my Peppermint snow socks. What have I got left to show you? Oh yes, I have an exciting thing to show you. My collection of granny squares that I've been working on. I've completely copied Kay of the Bakery Bears. She started joining hers, but I haven't started joining mine yet, but they will be joined in this, which is Drops Flora, and it's kind of, I've been told, in a taupe colourway, and I think that's exactly the colour. And let me show you how many I've made. Quite the bundle. I'll give you a quick look, so I don't want you to be bored. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. I think I showed you all those last time, so I'll just give you a quick flick through. But it's like a little book of granny squares, which is really nice. And I'm just keeping them on this stitch holder at the moment, but I think I can start joining them. Yeah, so I think that is what I need to get my head around. But I'm loving making these. They are so fun. I think in the beginning, so this is one of my first ones. It's not precisely square. It looks a little tighter in the centre. I think because my tension when I crochet is a little bit tight, but I'm getting better. So this is one of my latest ones, and that's much more square. I'm really pleased with that. So I think I can start joining those. Dream knitting. Well, I have 2 dream knitting projects. First of all, have you seen Amy, who is Taylor S Studios? Have you seen her Whitmore sweater? Wow, that is so beautiful. I haven't told Amy this, but I think I should have done. The top, it's a yoked sweater with this beautiful lace, and the lace reminds me, I think it's only just come to me actually, it reminds me of a dream catcher. It is so beautiful. There's 2 sleeve options. One is a bishop sleeve, which is like a bit puffy here, and then it comes in at the wrist, and the other one is a tapered sleeve, so I'm guessing like this. It's just glorious. So I am going to be casting that on very soon. It's in test knitting at the moment, and I really did want to be a test knitter, but I didn't know what size my boobies were going to end up, so I kind of said I'm going to wait for this one because I want it to fit me perfectly. So I'm so excited about that. Also, I have decided, I was talking about my gorgeous stash of single skeins of sock yarn. And I've been thinking about the Penguono for quite a long time, but I thought, oh, am I going to wear it? Is it going to be something that's going to fit into my wardrobe? But when I think about it, I am very often just in jeans and a long sleeve top. And I think it would look really pretty. It'll be a bit crazy, but it'll kind of be, where's my blanket? It'll kind of be, I think, is this the right blanket? What am I doing? No. It'll kind of be in these colours, which, these are the colours that I always go for, this kind of depth of colour. And I think I'm going to possibly keep it in peaches and kind of violet, mauvey kind of colours. Because I just love that combination, and maybe some creamy blush. Not really sure, but I have lots of skeins of yarn that are open, wound into balls, no, wound into cakes, that I've used bits of for different things, for shawls, for socks, varying things. And I love these colours. I'm not sure that one goes, but I also, the other thing with the Penguono, I don't think you need it to go to completely match. I think that's the fun of it. So I think I may be casting that on pretty soon. I'm also going to try and change the pattern so it has long sleeves. I've seen a version on Ravelry. I don't know the lady's name because I haven't looked into it, but I just saw her project and it had lovely long sleeves, which were a bit like a bishop sleeve with the bit puffy and then going in. So I think I'm going to have a go at adapting the pattern, because the thing that has always put me off of making the Penguono was the sleeve length. You have a really thick, oversized cardigan / jacket, but your arms are not covered, and that always didn't really appeal to me. But if my arms are covered, I like warm arms, that does appeal to me. So I think I'm going to be getting my yarns ready for knitting on that when I'm recovering. This is in one of my rope bowls. So that's my dream knitting. Oh, I need to tell you what I'm wearing. This is my breathing space, which I knit, I know, 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Was it the first thing I knit? I don't know. I'm probably lying. I don't know. But I love it. The only issue I have with it, and why I don't wear it very much, is it's actually too long. It's stretched a lot because of the yarn, and I just didn't know enough about yarn when I first started knitting, and I didn't know to, I think I knit it longer because I like longer length garments, but I didn't realise, because it must be superwash, that it stretches. Didn't know those kind of things back then, but it's not a hard fix actually. It's knit top down, so I'm just going to unpick it and take off like 4 inches, and just do the rib again, because it's so beautiful and it fits everywhere else. Oh, they're gonna be shrinking, baby. And I love it. The colours are beautiful. It's knit in wool barn yarn, which is perfection. So yes, that is something I need to do as well. I've got lots of things I need to do at the moment. Also, I wanted to show you my beautiful necklace. How gorgeous is that? Stitch markers and progress keepers, and this is from my lovely friend Emily, who is Salt City Knits. It's beautiful, and she has them in her shop. I believe she has them in there right now, but look at the charms. This one, oh, so pretty. Oh, they're so gorgeous. Shop news. Don't really have much shop news, to be honest. Just to say that my Marvellous Soap Mitt is now published. So the pattern is out there and you can get it from either my Ravelry store or my Etsy shop. I talked about them in detail in my last podcast, but basically it's a little pouch that you just put a lovely bar of soap in and you leave the soap in there and you get it wet and you just wash yourself. And they're really lovely, they're eco-friendly, there's no plastic. They're just so useful. I have 3 or 4 and so I'll use it for a day or 2 in the shower. Then I'll take the soap out of the little pouch, let it dry on my soap dish, and then the next morning I'll pop the soap into a clean one of these. And they go in the wash machine and in the tumble dryer and they're just perfect. They just come out so beautifully. Also, I think they make the most amazing gifts. Like a Mother's Day gift, an Easter gift, a birthday gift. Also, I have found another use for these. I've been putting them in with my clothes. And the little bag protects your clothes from the soap. And the smell just permeates through your clothes and they smell delicious. So my Marvellous Soap Mitt is out there, and thank you to everybody who's already purchased the pattern. I'm really pleased you love it. Just makes my day. I also want to say thank you so much for everybody who supported my shop update last week. Wow, you get me so busy. And orders are still coming in for the bits and bobs I have in my shop that's left over. There's a few things. Stock is quite low in my shop at the moment. I'll actually be closing my shop tomorrow, kind of at midday-ish, for a couple of weeks while I have my surgery and recover. I just want to say thank you because I just feel really lucky to be able to do what I love doing and for you to spend your money on the things that I enjoy making. And it's just lovely. I feel like it's spreading love out into the world. All that's left to share is some reading that I've been doing. I have been loving reading lately and also listening to audiobooks. Sometimes look, a little fly, go away. Sometimes I get in a rut with reading and I'll start reading something, it just doesn't float my boat and then it puts me off for a while, but just lately I've had some great reading material. I spoke about this book in my last episode and it's called The Beast's Heart, and as you can see I have the tiniest bit left to read, a chapter. I have loved this book. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast and it's so lovely and it's just lovely. It's heartwarming and calming. Gosh, it's windy out there. It's just a beautiful, magical story and I really highly recommend it. If you just want a soothing read, there's not too many characters because I find that sometimes a little bit off-putting. It's just lovely and it's one of those books, I don't know if you ever have this, where sometimes I think it's a film because it's so beautifully written that you can imagine it so clearly, and I always think that's a sign of a good book if you think back and you go, was that a film I watched? Oh no, it was a book I read. So that says a lot, I think. I'm also listening to The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes on Audible. Again, I am loving every second of this book. I usually listen to my audiobooks in the morning when I'm getting ready after my shower. Also when I'm doing my back exercises, which I do every day. Actually, my back is not very happy at the moment, so fingers crossed. And they tend to be my audiobook listening times, but I think it's going to be really great when I'm lying in hospital. And you know when you're a bit drugged up and you can't contemplate turning a page of a magazine or a book, I'm going to be listening to that, and it's such a brilliant, captivating story, and it's so well written again that it definitely feels like I've watched the film. So they are my 2 recommendations. I think that's everything I've got to say, and the next time I see you, I should have a new figure. Exciting, scary, but I'm really up for this, and I hope you are all well, and I hope you all stay well and healthy and happy, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.